Hey everyone, welcome back to yet another episode of Battle Rap Resume. This is your host, Tom Quee here. We are here with, a legend, low-key, in my eyes, in battle rap. A sort of king jester, someone that really was around back in the day. Like, this Pseudonym battle that we're going to get into, this is early fucking Don't Flop. It's fucking crucial footage, and it's iconic in its own way, in all its 8,000 or so views. We're going to get into all of that. Sprungy, how's it go, man?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. How about yourself?
You've had so many battles. We don't have time, to cover all 49 of these battles. And fair to say you're pretty inebriated in each one. It's kind of your style in a way.
I just can't help myself. I get there, get a bevy, and then it begins.
Early on, like just getting into the writing, the performing, that sort of aspect. How did that come about in Liverpool?
Initially, when I started, all writing and rapping, was because my cousin was into it.
Right.
You'll know Salah from Children of the Damned.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he was in the same school as my cousin. There was a few of the guys, and they were all into the rapping. So I naturally just got into it through my cousin because we were really close at the time. And then it kind of progressed onto internet forums, through text battling, and then into the audio side of things. But after a while, I just kind of stopped until I met Oshea, and then it all went tits up from there, I suppose you could say.
And you and Oshea, this incredible friendship bounded by bars and brews, and he's in your latest battle, for example, against Micky Worthless. He's there at your side. He's there early on against Einstein, and you battle him, a very early battle for both of you, January 2010, the Art of Freestyle, which we get to.
Yeah.
I mean, you and him, I love it. I love the fraternity.
Yeah, man, it's good to have a bit of a brotherhood, in a sport where everyone's out to get each other's head. It's nice to have that bit of friendship between people, and where you can have a laugh with each other and things like that. But I suppose with most of the people I've met through battling, they're all quite similar. Not many who go over the top serious from our generation anyway.
Is Innuendo still in the picture? Do you guys still hang out, or
not as much anymore? I think he just spends all his time fishing, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm not involved in the music or battling anymore, so you can't just gravitate away from each other, don't you, when you're not doing the same thing. So if we see each other, we'll have a chat, we'll have a bevy, it'll be cool. But yeah, just one of those things, really.
No, I bring him up because I'm such a huge fan of the guy. For going back through your back catalogue, the Christmas song, for example, which we need to get to, which a lot of people have mentioned as one of the most catchy, down to the rap song he did with Innuendo, which was fantastic. And obviously we did an episode, and he was on against Dundee as well. We did a face-off, which is definitely one of the funniest early battle rap resumes. Yourself, in terms of battle rap then, when did you become aware?
I knew about battle rap in the early 2000s, probably 2002 was the first time I started watching things online. And I've always had a little thing where I'd check something out on YouTube. I might watch a little bit of a battle here and there, but I was never massively involved or into it to a point where it was religious, like it is for a lot of people. And then obviously once I got involved, it became a little bit more serious. And well, I say it became serious. Obviously, judging on my battles, it probably wasn't that serious, but it just you get into it a bit more. You meet a few different people. You get to travel around. In my case, obviously, travel the world a little bit. So yeah, it started early, but it's been going for a while.
It started really early. You were on YouTube, which barely anyone is on. That is the sort of OG basement level. Rowan's personal channel with his favourite battles in a playlist on the homepage. He's got 600 subscribers, but people know about this channel, this kind of antecedent to Don't Flop. And how did you become aware of Don't Flop and and that sort of stuff?
That would literally just be Oshea.
Right. Tagging along.
What basically happened was one of my best mates worked in Morrison's with Oshea.
Right.
And then I went to a Christmas party, and a Morrison's Christmas party one year. He introduced me to Oshea, and then Oshea, in my ear, you've got to get involved in the battle. You've got to get involved in the battle, and come on, lad, get involved. At this point, I hadn't even rapped for about 6 years. So it was like it was a bit of it was mad, and then I just thought, you know what, just to shut them up, I'll do it. That's where your pseudonym battle comes from.
I should have wrote some shit, because that's the most written shit I've heard since Eminem dissed Benzino on Nailing the Coffin, bitch. I'm not trying to be funny. I don't give a shit. I'm pissed. I'm gonna diss you. What the fuck is this hat, you little bitch? End of the day, mate, you're calling me fat. I know this shit. I don't care. I'll still fucking squash you, tip.
Back when it was Don't Flop Street Battles, this is 2008 actually in York, the first battle of the day. And it's in an interesting environment. It's on the sort of top level of the screen. There's lots of passers-by.
Yeah, well, it was in the middle of a big, massive park. Sure. But, you know, obviously with quite a lot of walkways and things like that. Like, so obviously the kind of park where people probably go and walk the dogs and things like that. And it was in the middle of that. So there was a lot of people who were probably walking past thinking, what the hell's going on down there? And obviously we were just getting on with it. Obviously drinking and having a bit of fun. And then, yeah, it just went from there, really, just escalated.
Yeah, and there were 23 battles, I should say, on Tube. The 24th one is declaring that the new channel is called Don't Flop, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, amongst them is this clash. Now, you versus Pseudonym, I'd never seen it before. Obviously, like a lot of tryouts on this show. Like, you know, it's just fun to sort of go back and appreciate them afresh. But I've never seen someone in a battle be like you are in this battle, be so overly physical. You're grabbing hoods and heads and like pushing his scalp and stuff. Like, you know, you're in it.
Yeah, man. All I can say really is that was pretty much just the alcohol. Yeah. It's the only excuse, the alcohol and not having a clue what I was doing.
Had you watched much battle rap before? Were there guys that you really liked?
I know before that battle, other than, you know, like maybe watching a few of the WRCs like a year or two before, and I'm talking like a couple of videos, not much at all. And then prior to that would have been like the Scribble Jam stuff, but that's obviously a completely different environment anyway. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, no, I'd not watched anything. I'd not even considered, you know, doing anything live, well, at all.
And the Pseudonym battle happens, and, you know, you do go straight at his hat, and you say you haven't got anything prepared, and he's got a hood on because he's a bitch, and, you know, there is a lot of invasion of personal space here, and you ask him to open his mouth, actually, and then you proclaim that you can't believe his teeth isn't butter.
I know, yeah, it's you know, I suppose I was clutching at straws with that shit, mate.
But I mean, there is a sort of energy to your performance, in the sense where you don't know where it goes at times, and it must be quite exhilarating. Like, you seem to enjoy the stage. You battled so much. Yeah,
do you know what? Like, standing in front of a crowd, whether it be 10 people or 200 people, and I've done, you know, both sides of the scale, it's really enjoyable. You know, it gives you that buzz, gives you that thrill. My problem is I just never took it to the point serious, to the point where I might have been able to do something with it more than just, you know, get a few views and a few laughs. And, you know,
Pseudonym was a great battler, like, of this era, and he's really good in this battle, actually. And I think a lot of his stuff, you know, would land now. You know, the local Abbey branch asked for $1,000 needed for a gastric band. You cut him off as well during certain rounds. You know, he has some good stuff, looking like Barney Gumbel's slightly less charming uncle.
Yeah, man, Pseudonym's really sick, and he's also very safe guy as well. Obviously met him a few times after that battle. One of the first things I did was just apologise to him, because I was an absolute disgrace. But, you know, hey, something like that makes the battle, doesn't it? It makes it enjoyable for certain people to watch. I can tell you now, though, I watched it once when it first came out, and I've never gone back to it. Yeah, I can't bear to watch it.
No, it's a bit of a relic of its time, but as I say, it's a bit of a landmark for me mentally. Just, you know, in terms of the displays you have, like, you know, how you act, you sort of go to bite off his right ear in the third as well. There's, you know, some real craziness in this clash, but Pseudonym with the flips and Pseudonym with the technique, and I think, you know, this was Pseudonym's first battle as well. He would go on to battle, you know, Definition and Oshea and Bison Briggs, Chronicle. He came back on KOTR as well, so, you know, he's had a few showings here and there. Definitely be good to get him on the show. What was, like, What was Don't Flop like at that time? Because obviously there wasn't really a fan base. Was there buzz online or?
Not much at the time. It was very, very raw. So it was like you had like Aaron, his friends from like sort of down south who got involved in the WRCs and things, and then the odd few people from different parts of like the north and everything that just came together. But I mean, I think at that event there was probably maybe 40 people there, and about 20 of them were involved in battles. The rest were just like friends that tagged along for the day for a day out. So it completely, went completely different. Next level, next scale from there. Obviously, my next memory of it would be the next event in Liverpool where I battled Einstein, which obviously wasn't great again. And probably one of the reasons why I decided to carry on, because I thought, you know what, I can't really go out like that, even though I became known for getting drunk and things like that. I did have some decent battles, I think, in my time, and it's just one of them. It started to grow from there, and obviously the first stage I think it really set off would be like the North versus South events, which would be November 2009 I think it would be. Which was a big like turning point, because there was a couple hundred people at that one, and that was the beginning of it all really for me. That was where I thought, yeah, this is actually pretty sick.
And as we get into 2010, which is like an early nascent time for you really, you battle Oshea. This is on the Art of Freestyle.
Today we're going to find out who's the most scouse, who's the hardest, who's the best rapper, who works in a supermarket, who's the best, who's retarded, who makes the best tracks, who works in a supermarket. He's come dressed from work. That shit's wrong. I used to work in a supermarket, but I fucking left because I clicked on.
Billed as your like going away do. So what was that about, the Australian excursion?
I just wanted to go travelling, mate. Personally, just like, go backpacking, see what was going on at the other side of the world, experience something different at home. Probably what a lot of people who do the same thing is, but mine turned into a completely different experience on the basis that I knew a few people who were involved in the battle, and it just, completely went off on a tangent from there, rather than just traveling and meeting random travelers. A lot of it was focused around traveling to different cities to, get involved in the battles.
Yeah, and it is crazy that you have this chapter in your back catalogue of just you going over there. But yeah, you battled loads of people. The Oshea battle I want to focus on. You talk about him working in the supermarket. I think I see Sean Delgado in the back of this battle, actually.
Yeah, he was there, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, huge fan. Shout out to Sean every time, great guy. But yeah, Art of Freestyle, you turn it with crap verses. Oshea retorts as well. Talks about you should get paid the amount of time you spend in the pie shop. The monkey comment is controversial in this battle.
I don't believe it should be, because it wasn't meant in any way at all, to cause controversy. It was just something that was said at the heat of the moment. It was nothing. It's not like I turned around and looked at a black person and was like, "You're a monkey." That would be really bad. Yeah. It was just one of those things, really. But yeah, people like to blow these things out of proportion, don't they? Really, everyone likes to make a mess of anything.
Yeah. I mean, the editing doesn't help.
No, definitely.
We get a racist tumbleweed sort of comes on screen.
Well, you can blame Innuendo for that, because he was the one who was doing that shit.
So just to give some background to this bar, because I know a lot of people probably haven't seen the Oshea battle, it's got 30,000 views, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't even know it had that many.
Yeah. I didn't remember it having that many views when I watched it a few years ago, but yeah, it seems to have crept up. But he basically says, you went to the zoo and raped a monkey. And then you said that, you was fucking a monkey. It was only a black girl. He was the one being racist. Fucking twat is the ending as well to it. So it just doesn't, necessarily land that well.
Yeah, I suppose you could say it's a bad flip is what it is. But it was never meant, it was more me. Because people were all like, it was a rumour going around, or like just jokes going around. Oh, Sprungy's, racist. And then he says that. So I'm like, yeah, well, I'll flip this on the head here and let's call him it and, see how it's, and then it just gets completely taken out of proportion, really.
But I guess back then, there really wasn't the viewers, were there? Like, it really hadn't reached any form of peak. And
no, not as much as it is now, yeah.
It was odd for me looking back, actually, Sprung, and I didn't even really realise this until I kind of delved into the history that, your last Don't Flop appearance is the Guevara, is that his name?
Jay Guevara.
Jay Guevara, yeah. So what happened there? Because Don't Flop then proceeds to get massive at the end of the year, through a cocktail of Luna and Blizzard and Grist, and that sort of viral hype, and it would have been good to see you on To the Test 10 and shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me personally, I'd done so many battles over the course of when I was in Australia, and then because I mean, a lot of stuff obviously went down with Air and with Don't Flop before I went to Australia, where I was banned from battling for them.
Right.
Went to Australia, did my thing over there. Came back, and as trying to be the bigger man, I messaged there and I was like, "Listen, mate, whatever happened in the past was in the past.
Sure.
I'm over it. I hope you are. Can I get back involved and Don't Flop?" And he was like, "Yeah, okay." So he agreed to it, and I did a battle up in Scotland against Gupsy.
Right. Yeah. May
so
2011.
I did that one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this was literally the year after I got back from Australia, and then I had the match against Jay Guevara in Manchester. That was, I'm pretty sure that was Lunacy's first big performance.
Is that
as
right?
well.
Against Bloodstroke?
I'm pretty sure it was that event.
Yeah, it was in Manchester.
If I remember rightly.
Yeah, it was To the Test 4. It was outside in some alleyway. 10 Shoes there, Oshea's there. This is your last appearance on Don't Flop, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was the same event that happened. So obviously after that one, that was when it really blew up, wasn't it? I mean, it blew up, and then it blew up a lot after the Blizzard and obviously Marcus battle was when it really took it to the next levels. But yeah, no, for me it was just I became a little bit overtired of doing it. I enjoyed it while I was doing it, but I'd done so many battles over the course of a year and a half. And I was just I want to take a bit of break. I'll do this last one because I'd agreed to do it and just go from there. So so obviously when you watch it, I get introduced as and this is his last battle ever. And I'm like, okay, I mean, I didn't say that, but you're announcing there's my last battle ever. I don't think you can ever retire from something like this because at the end of the day, it's a hobby. Some people make money off it. I don't think anyone in the UK is really able to make a living off of it. Maybe a lunacy if they're lucky, but it's more the music that makes anyone from the UK money who's involved in the battling scene. But yeah, it was announced that it was my last battle, and then I was I didn't say anything at the time, but I was well, I didn't say that. I just said that I wanted to break for a bit, and then leading from there, it was the Sheffield event. I think that would be To the Test. Would it be I don't know if it's To the Test 10, the one where they had the one where Lunacy battled against
the double.
Is it the old guy? No, the
DPF.
The one from, DPF. That's the one. Yeah. So at that event, and I got told that I was banned from Don't Flop again, and I was I don't know why, because I came back and I was I said, listen, I was a knobhead. So can I get back involved? And then I just wanted a bit of a break and found out I was banned again. And then, so I confronted Air on the day. I was so why am I banned from Don't Flop? And he goes, it's nothing to do with me, bro. It's all Chronicle. And I was okay. So I went and confronted Chronicle, and never really got an answer from it. And at that point, I just decided, I'm not in it to get famous and get hundreds of thousands to millions of views. If I want to do a battle, I'll just do a battle for me, and I don't need it to be for Don't Flop. And that's kind of how it went from there, because I was doing more of the sort of indie battle leagues a lot from that point.
I mean, your verse tracker reads like the most fucking awesome back catalogue of various indie British leagues back then.
Yeah.
Spit Roast, Barmageddon, Pick Bars going overseas, Defying Irish as well. Spit Roast twice. Focus back on the J battle quickly. I like that battle because it's a win.
Yeah, and I don't think I was too bad. I obviously wasn't overly drunk like a lot of the battles, so I was able to put on a half decent performance.
Looking at the 2012, I don't know, we're looking at 13 odd battles, so many different showings. Actually, more and more as you go through, it's kind of quite incredible. It seems, was that every weekend you were battling?
I think there was a stage where I was pretty much away once every couple of weeks.
Jeez.
Whether it be a way to do one myself or a way like with Osh watching him do one for Don't Flop or with Innuendo, there was I'd say at least 2 weekends a month, near enough. We were away somewhere different, getting involved in one.
And the next battle that I want to look at proper, I mean, I had so many picks to choose from, but whenever this guy comes up as an opponent, I have to pick him. I have to watch the battle and make notes and decide that we have to talk about the battle that went down on the 29th of September 2012 in Wolverhampton versus Pete Cashmore.
It's no wonder you would depressed being on Countdown, man. So here's a big fuck you to being a Countdown fan and start the beginning of the end because he's a Countdown fan. Seriously, we were in Pete in London, right? And he said, no one can have sex in this flat.
How did this clash come about?
I love him. I think he's such a great guy, and he was like, he just loves it. He got involved in battling because he was a massive fan, and he's so like enthusiastic about it and everything. And it was just one of them where I was like, I'd team up with you, Pete. We can do a 2-on-2. I'll even come to Wolves and battle you if you want me to. And and he was like, oh, please, let's do that. And we had like a whole theme where we were going to do a whole round based on just gun bars and just kind of take the piss while we did the rest of it. I mean, he managed to do what he said he was going to do. But that was just another one of my many moments where I just let myself go a little bit too much. And you can obviously see that from the fact that I repeated the same line about 3 times in the battle.
Yeah. I mean, was it necessary for you? Did you have to get bladdered to perform?
No, honestly, no. For me, it's just more of a... Whenever I was going through an event, I think the problem was more than anything, we'd set off to do an event. So, like, let's say we'd get the train from Liverpool. So the event's starting at 2 o'clock. My battle's at 5 o'clock, and we'd set off at 10 o'clock to get down there. We'd be on the train and we'd be drinking. And, we'd just start the drinking there. And I think I was a glutton for punishment because I never really had any food, to soak up the alcohol to keep myself a little bit sober. And then, obviously, things just get worse. And once I've had about 4 or 5 drinks, all bets are off as to what's going to happen at that point. Plus, I think I drink a lot faster than a lot of people as well. So my 4 or 5 drinks might be 2 drinks for a normal person. It just kind of spirals out of control. I've always been a binge drinker. I'm not like the kind of person who just sits there and drinks on a random day. But whenever I have the chance to go to an event or go out on a night out, I'll just binge and just get hammered and basically enjoy myself. But obviously, it was at the detriment to some of my videos online.
Pete has some good stuff in the first. Portly, fartly Paul McCartney, who's probably got some poorly arteries.
Yep.
Horrid, plump Forrest Gump, which I quite like. Need to get planning permission when you take a shit, he says. You flip some of his ideas somewhat. It is quite jagged, as you mentioned. You talk about his pizza blog. You thought the pizza knob
3 times.
Ocean Floss, he had sex in his bed.
Yeah, I was so proud of the pizza blog, pizza knob bar as well. I was so proud that I was so drunk I said it 3 times in the battle. It's like, what a great, because I'll be honest with you, as much as I can rap normally, and I'm all right at making tracks and things like that. I'm not I can't put the best, most intricate multis together, and he's obviously put loads of really good ones together in the battle against me. So I'm just pizza blog, pizza knob. It's dead simple, but it works so well. So I was like, yeah, I'm well proud of myself with that one.
I mean, as I say, he mentions Ocean Floss. You're a little bit of a mess, really. Not too many punches, but it works. And Cashmore, he's ever the proponent of the niche pursuit with the Wolverhampton slang, local talk that he passes out, the papers, all the references. He's going to do Wolverhampton bars, more Maltese than this city has Balties.
Yeah,
you grabbed the sheet.
Shit round that one, wasn't it?
You grabbed the sheet. I don't know if you recall, and you start to sort of freestyle off.
Yeah, well, that's it. Because obviously I'd gone to a point where I'd drunk too much that I couldn't remember anything that I'd pre-prepared. I'm just like, well, I'm going to have to try and pull something out of the bag. So yeah, just that's kind of what I did.
And the third that we get to as well, which is meant to be gun bars, Cashmore comes with again. He's done this before, and he shows that Lucy Pinder, the bangers are cracking, etc. And you try and do a magazine scheme. Innuendo sort of closes your round for you. It doesn't end well.
Do you know what? The gun bar round that I wrote for that battle, I mean, I couldn't tell you what it was now, but I remember at the time thinking this is really good. And I was sending like Pete little snippets of, bars that I'd thrown away. And he's like, man, that's so sick. And I was like, yeah, well, I'm not even using that one. You should imagine what's actually in the round. Just this is my biggest like downfall, really. When I did prepare stuff that was like, pretty good or pretty funny, if I drunk too much, I never prepared it to a point where I could remember it when I was really drunk. That was kind of my issue, really. At the end of the day, one of the reasons people used to turn up to watch me was that reason. So I think it kind of became part of the norm. It was like, if I turn up and actually do a battle properly, what are people going to think? They're all there to watch me make a bit of a dickhead out of myself, and everyone likes to laugh at a clown, don't they? So
they do.
That's I suppose it kind of got to that point where I was just like, well, I'll just get drunk for the sake of it, and just play up to what they want.
Did anyone ever buy you drinks like beforehand?
Yeah, quite a few people would buy me drinks. Yeah,
that's nice.
I'm never one to turn down a free drink. But the thing is, I was always first person to offer drinks to anybody if I met them as well. What happened when I was living in Australia? Decoy, the idiot that he is, like decides to post a thing on Facebook, like a status saying that I died, and I didn't have a clue. I was out in the countryside working. Had no internet access, no phone access for a couple of days. So you can imagine I've got like my sisters and my friends from school and everything on Facebook, and they're all like they're sitting there thinking, "Fucking hell, has he actually died?" And it's just like it's so fucking stupid. I had to because I am obviously alive and things like that. I saw the funny side to it afterwards. But at the time, it was like once I found out, I had about 50 missed calls off my sister and things like that. So she's obviously thinking the worst at that point.
Yeah.
They didn't dare to tell my mum until until it was completely confirmed if it was true or not. But yeah, I had to like have words, and I was like, it's a fucking stupid prank to do. Everyone can have a laugh over certain things, but that's just like fucking idiot stuff. So yeah, it spiraled out of control to the point where when I was coming back from Australia and he was coming over for Christmas with his family and things like that, because he's like originally from Liverpool. I had like my friends where I'm gonna fucking find them and fucking kill them and shit like that, and that's what people were actually thinking because they were so angry at the situation. But yeah, it really spiraled out of control, and I mean, what do you expect from a fucking nonce?
Yeah, it's fucking despicable. His acts then, his acts now. Yeah, I was just curious what the story was, but that is fucking crazy. So
that my flow's sicker, because I can't name one guy in this room you haven't shagged except for me and Rochester. Basically, your rapping's fucking bad. You're a fucking slag. I'm going to use you as my punching bag when I'm bumming you later. And then you're going to fucking eat my cum.
I didn't actually go through the H-bomb battle, which I did watch through. Awkwardly, Decoy's music introduces this, and he's obviously there hosting. So they had, as well as the Australian, they had the Outpost.
Because it was obviously like a got beef battle when he was in Liverpool, so they threw the event over there. But H-bomb had been living in Liverpool for years. He was in Liverpool, in like one of the bars in Liverpool. But she'd been living in Liverpool for years. She'd obviously, as I mentioned in the battle, she'd slept with about 5 different battlers and musicians. So, the list was ongoing, and it was just when they come back, it's like, the one thing I'd love to see is Sprungy battle a woman, and I'm just like, well, you can do it. I don't mind. And and it was obviously her first battle, so I just thought, oh, fuck this. At that point I was actually quite competent at freestyling, as long as I wasn't over the top drunk. And like on the same day I had the battle with Chronicle as well. Okay. So I kind of like prepared a bit more for that one, and then just took the H-bomb battle as a joke, and just freestyled and mentioned a few things about everything that I'd heard off other people. But yeah, no, it's cool. I enjoyed that battle. It was good fun. Apart from the fact that I'd been sick for 3 days before it, so that's probably the reason I was sober, because I was too ill to want to have a drink.
This is the most viewed of your battles, 36,000 views. You said at the start it's going to be fucking hilarious, and it is. It's definitely one of your best battles. I was surprised, actually. I didn't check that this was H-Bomb's first battle. I assumed it was like her third or fourth battle, because I think she's actually quite good in this.
One. Yeah, she does well. She does well. The thing was, everyone wanted it to go to overtime. There's no one wanted to call a winner, and she hadn't prepared an overtime round. And obviously, for me, it didn't matter because I didn't prepare anything anyway. And I was just she said, listen, I can't do an overtime round. Begged me not to do it. And I just said, listen, just make a decision. If you want to give her the battle, give her the battle. Because I never did it to win or anything like that. I personally think I did win, but hey, that's for the people who watch it to make their own decisions.
Yeah, I mean, you do reference stuff that's a bit more electric in the crowd that's there. You talk about her shagging everyone in the room apart from yourself and Rogista. The sprungy chants throughout the battle. She flips a lot of the Australian stuff. You blew your money back in my country, had to come back to mummy. She comes with a Scouser accent. She comes hard at times, actually. You talk about watching an episode of Bomberman, seeing her giving a gobble to man.
Give it a gobble, man.
Gobble, man, yeah. It is even as it goes through, and it is a really fun contest. And getting to the judges, Joker, for him in terms of quality, it's a draw. So performance-wise is what he has to go with, and he went with H-bomb. Overtime Tenchu wanted, another round is what he felt he deserved. Rogista loved your third, and I think your third was really strong, and rightfully so. This is a highly viewed battle. The quality deserves some more eyes.
Yeah, no, I'd like it's the one battle that if I was speaking to a friend who never watched the rap battle and they asked to see one of mine, I would probably go to that one and gravitate towards that one, just because it's enjoyable on both sides, and it's nice to see a woman hold her own in a battle ring with a man, because especially for someone who doesn't watch battle and who hasn't seen some of the better female battlers, you just think it's going to be a male. I mean, it is a male-dominated sport, but that's what you feel. So it's nice to show that you can have a battle with someone, and it's just good fun, and pretty much just enjoyable to watch.
How did you feel like when you were on these other leagues in like 2012, 2013, these giant years for Don't Flop? Like, were you wishing you were on these cards?
I'll be honest with you, mate. I was getting paid £100 every time I did a battle for one of those leagues, and I know like people like Oshea weren't getting a penny off Don't Flop. So, despite not getting the views, it really didn't bother me, because I just thought, and this is one of the issues I always had with Don't Flop at the time, was you're not paying the people who are coming and making you money. It's just unfair, and obviously because I built a bit of notoriety for. Firstly getting barred from Don't Flop a couple of times, and then for being drunk at battles, and obviously I'm probably the most shouted out battler from other battlers in the UK. So it was like I just made the most of what I could, while everyone else was getting views but making nothing off theirs.
You're right, though. In the absence of you are the most shouted out. Like, so many O'Shea battles. You're like this mythic figure that he references, this titan, of old. And, in the back, a lot of his battles and Innuendo's battles, of course, and you all battle together as well. But there's still so many goddamn performances. Like, I haven't seen you and O'Shea teaming up versus Most Prob and Prince Kong on Barmageddon, but 2012, October, I bet this was great.
In Barmageddon? Yeah. This was in London. Oh mate, I was a disgrace. I honestly, I met with Prince Kong and like some of the Brighton boys at like the pub once we arrived there, and they all had like magic and shit, and I was like, go on, I'll have a little bit, and he gave me like a little bomb of magic, meaning just take a little bit, and I threw the whole fucking thing in my mouth, and about 3 hours later, I don't remember. Well, put it this way. This was about 1 o'clock. It got to about 3 o'clock, and the next thing I remember, I was waking up at 5 in the morning. So I could not tell you about that battle if I tried to. You'd be better off speaking to Oshea and seeing if he remembers anything about it.
And you're in quite a lot of 2-on-2s this time, especially, but throughout. Like, what do you think of that format as a performer, as a writer?
I just enjoy it. The thing is, I've not really done a 2-on-2 where it's been written and you've prepared, and basically I've not done a 2-on-2 like you say a shuffle T and Marla would do, where it's just completely all synchronated. You can go off each other's words, you can say each other's lines. Everyone that I've really done has just been, you turn up at the event, a couple of battles never went down because there's always a couple of no-shows, and then it's just like a few people are just like, well, should we jump in some 2-on-2s and have a bit of fun? And that's pretty much how it goes down usually. But I do really enjoy it because I like the fact that there's no stress to keep going for 60 seconds on your own. You can drop a few bars and then you can flow off a few bars that the other person says. Do a few flips, and I suppose for me that's and I suppose it goes to the fact that like the WRCs was so successful. For me, that is real battling.
And as we go through to the end of 2012 as well, you battle at the Christmas party, which at the time of us recording this pretty much came out 6 years ago. You battled Pamphlet.
And the fact that Joe's battling over your missus is fucking absurd, because Don't Flop should have compensated you for your losses, but you got nothing returned. But me, since leaving Don't Flop, I've been paid for every battle I've done. Didn't matter if I lost or I actually won. Didn't matter if I was drunk or slightly sober. I made sure that I got paid before the night was over. Now tonight, this is going to be my last performance, so for you need to realise that's enormous. Like your head.
How was it? I mean, Pam's a legend.
Yeah, well, I love pamphlets. Not long before that, we'd done. We travelled to like Cardiff together and back on the bus, like 6-hour bus to Manchester, and then train to Warrington to watch a Wrapped in Wire event and all this stuff. So I absolutely love pamphlet. But I thought to myself, I've never really showed up and put on a real performance to a point where people have thought sat there and he's obviously wrote three rounds with bars and jokes and everything. And because for me personally, Pamphlet's probably one of the best battlers. He's certainly one of the most enjoyable battlers to watch. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to give this one a proper go. I'm going to stay sober and like go at him. And a little bit earlier in the day, I made him quite nervous that I was going to mention certain things that I never mentioned. Right. Because I think he'd not long split up with his missus. This is not the one he's married to, but this be like before he met her. And I was like, you should hear this sort of stuff I'm going to say. And he was like proper worrying. I was trying to like get in his head a little bit because I thought this is one that I want to win. This is one I'm going for. This is the one I'm gunning for against one of my favourite battlers, one of the ones I respect more than anyone, and just proper went for it.
Yeah, I mean, again, Pamphlet is someone that I absolutely adore. I think his stuff is ageless. I think his character is remarkable, his determination and just his creativity and his silliness and his goof and his technique and everything about the guy I adore. I'm going to get him back on the show soon. We did top 10 funniest Don't Flop battlers about a year ago. That was a really fun chat. So I think he wants to do top 10 grind time battlers or battles. So that should be a really fun episode in the future. But yeah, I mean, shout outs to Pamphlet as well. And wasn't there a time when you guys were in Newcastle and you only had a $5 and you used it on the roulette?
I don't think that was me.
Don't think that was you. Okay.
No, not from what I can remember. I don't remember using a $5 on roulette. I've been in Newcastle with Pamphlet where we went on the radio.
Okay.
The radio. And we were doing, like spitting bars and things like that. But I don't remember, unless it was in the bookies and I just put money in there. Because, I had a bit of a gambling problem in the past. So, I mean, there's a good chance that could be the case. But yeah, we were out in some random area in Newcastle after like a battle event, doing radio and things like that.
Hmm.
So I've had some good times together. It's been good fun.
And just before we get into the next battle, on these socials, follow us at BattleRapResume, BattleResume@gmail.com, also on Facebook. You know, we asked people, you shared a post as well, questions for Sprungy. Dave asks, how did you end up in the DFI Fighting Irish cipher?
We were just going to the events. At this, just like get on really well with Red's Terrorist and all the Irish. I think that's part and parcel with being a Scouser, to be honest with you. You know, it's kind of like Irish heritage. You know, get on really well with them. The crowds always take well to us, and because we were going and we were all staying there, it was just decided we'll do this, getting on the cipher. And you know, I wrote my verse like the day before we went, and it went. I thought it was pretty sick cipher, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was good. It was.
Connor Ainsworth asks, Australian battle scene or UK battle scene?
I think for a moment in time, like when Got Beef first started, when they had like Thesaurus, Madness, Dirtbag Dan, No Can Do, FLO, I would say for like a year it would be Australia, but come like 2011, going into 2012, the UK battle scene just shits all over Australia, really. But that's not to say that Australia doesn't have some amazing battlers. I just mean in terms of the content that was coming out as a whole. I think it goes to show that although Australia is like, you know, multiple times bigger than the UK, we have a much bigger population, and you'd probably expect it to be, you know, more content coming out of the UK for that reason.
And, you know, as if to compare your levels of productivity in 2012, you know, you have absolutely numerous battles, like an incredible amount of battles there, probably like 15, 16 battles. And then for the next 2 years, I think you have like 5 or 6 battles. Like, you know, what caused that slowdown?
I think it's just more, you know, focusing on working and, you know, settling down a little bit more in life. And just the battles just becoming a little bit more few far in between. But at the same time, I was doing a little bit more music based, like writing. So I wasn't as interested in doing the battles as much as I had been previously. Like at that time, we were throwing some pretty big, you know, like events in Liverpool, where we had, you know, you might have like Mike Righteous, Lady LaShaw, English Frank, and people coming up, and, you know, Black the Ripper doing headline acts, and we're all like the support artists. So at that point, it was a lot more focus around probably, you know, the music and just doing the odd battle. Just when I was bored, or, you know, if something came along that I just thought, yeah, I'd like to visit this place, because a lot of the time I chose battles just to go somewhere I'd never been before. Yeah. You know, just to see a different city and have a night out somewhere different. And that was kind of the way I viewed it at the time.
Yeah. And one of the leagues that you were on, you know, towards the end of 2015, one of my personal favourite leagues in the UK. I'm really glad to see that they're hopefully coming back. Chronicle is going to bring back Words of Weapons. You battled Bowski, you battled Oshea. These were both on beat.
Yo, first off, fuck Oshea and the click you claim. Dick Limerick Academy's the shittest name. You claim DLA like a disabled wife, but your teeth the only thing about you disabled, right? That's a gob full of crooked fucks, more than one in prison. That must fucking suck when you go shop and buy some toothpaste or a hammer and chisel to go to town on that toothpaste.
For people who aren't aware of Words of Weapons, it's a very youth-led attacking grime league. And you guys, I don't mean it in an offensive way, but, you know, you're a little out of place there. And you can sort of tell
we
that.
Got we got off and did comedy hip-hop, didn't we? It was like, you know, 90 BP comedians as opposed to 140 BPM, you know, over serious grime artists. But I think it's nice to have that little bit of a mix, And one of the reasons I think it probably happened was the two events were in Liverpool, and obviously Chronicles, you know, he's not stupid. He knew to get a bit more of a crowd and a bit more going on. It's, you know, you need to have a couple of the local guys on.
And how were those battles for you?
Yeah, no, they were good. I thought the Bowski battle was really good. You know, it was obviously a couple of little moments, but as a whole, I thought it was very funny. It was good for an on-beat battle. And then the Oshea one, I decided I was going to go a little bit more serious, and it turned against me, really, because he just completely went at me with the jokes, and I should have realised that at Liverpool, you've got to go for the jokes.
Yeah.
And that's about it, really.
Yeah, Oshea's lethal in that one, definitely. He's really fucking good. I mean, Oshea's sick on
Yeah.
he really is a talent, as always. But
Oshea's just like sick in general. If he tries.
God, man, so consistent, so funny, like so brilliant, so witty. Like I love him.
Yeah, no, he's definitely the one person that I can sit there and watch over in terms of battles. And again, when I introduce people who have not battled or have not watched battles to battles, outside of myself, it'll always be Oshea. He'll always be the one that I gravitate towards in terms of showing.
And the next league that you debuted on was King of the Ronalds. This is September 2015. You mostly sort of battled with Oshea, mentioning Oshea there. What do you think of King of the Ronalds as a whole? Like, it took you quite a while to debut on the league, right?
Yeah, well, I thought it was, it started as a bit of a piss take, didn't it?
Sure.
It was the whole point. He'd obviously fell out with her, and they'd had like a bit of a falling out, and I think it was just his own way of getting one back, but it became a bit of a cult, really, didn't it? Obviously, you had like a lot of the American guys who had a bit of back and forth with her, were like, yeah, well, we'll support King of the Ronalds if we're going to talk about like a UK-based thing, and I enjoy it, but it's nice to see a platform for battlers that were not as well known, because although Don't Flop had all the tryout events and things like that, it was always the same people who got the attention, and then you might find the odd star out of the rest of the people who then gets pushed further. But like King of the Ronalds gave like a little bit of a platform to a lot of the smaller people, and who can like argue with the fact that one of the most famous people in the UK through battle now is probably Matt Sherry, just from antics that happened in King of the Ronalds. Yeah, I've got a lot of respect for it. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you versus Mac as well. That needs to happen.
I don't know if I'm going to be battling again, to be honest with you.
Are you done?
Well, I never say never. But like I've not got any plans. I don't even I can't even be bothered going to watch battle events anymore at the moment. So I'm just in a position where it's not something I'm interested in right now.
Do you follow battling at all? Like, do you know about Premier Battles and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I know about it. I've watched a few of the battles, and obviously, because I'm still friends with all the people on Facebook, I see like a lot of stuff posted about it. Yeah, I think I watched this battle against Raptor, and thought he was really good in that battle. Oh, yeah. But like Raptor's one of my good mates as well. So
did you see Osh versus Kojak?
I don't think I've seen that one yet.
Man, Osh was robbed in that. He's so fucking good in that.
Yeah, no, I'll probably have to go and watch it, because he's probably one of the only people I would usually, watch the battles of outside of a select few people.
Yeah. So as we get towards the end, then you battle Canel on Clash Money. I remember this barely, like, because I think me and Canel did it for an early episode and maybe mentioned it or whatever. But bit of a shambles, and I think Canel early on, he was still so brilliant, and I think he shined out.
I don't think I was bad in that battle.
Okay, maybe I misremember it. That's fair enough.
Yeah, no, I had like a couple of rounds that were prepared. Did some like flips on where we did the battle, like the roof had fell through, and like flipped that into a bar, and a couple of freestyles about people in the crowd. I thought it was pretty good. I mean, Canel was really good. Like he's one of the ones who's probably shone out of the smaller leagues and deserved that push. So I've got nothing against him. He's a cool guy. But no, I thought I was all right in that battle. Okay. I wasn't like drunk or anything.
You got to face off versus Eddie P and Frisco. This is a 2-on-2 with Osh. I mean, that's a dream pairing of pairings.
The thing is, we did like some like battles earlier that day.
Yeah.
And, they were cool, but this was, as you're like 5 hours deep into an event that this started happening, and then you had like a free team, 2-on-2s and everything. And just escalated from there, you know, in terms of the starting off funny to the sublimely drunk. But yeah, I mean, if you could pick like a comedy duo outside of Marlowe and Shuffle to You, are like probably my favourite.
You guys need to battle Shufflo, really.
Yeah, well, the first time I met those guys was at the event in Liverpool where Blizzard did the stage dive.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, where Ricky Riley battled Shuffle T.
Yeah, the first time I met them, and the two of them were just like, "Oh, Sprungy, man, you're a legend." And I'm stood there, and I'm just like, "Did these guys actually know me?" I was like, you know, I suppose it surprises you when you've not like been involved in like the Don't Flop scene for a while that people actually knew who you were. So yeah, it was. But the two of them are probably the most entertaining for me.
Yeah, they're exceptional, and I appreciate you probably haven't seen it yet, but they just did a battle versus Henry Bowers and Nils over in Germany, and that was outstanding as well. Like, you know,
but do you know what? I just downloaded the podcast app about half an hour before we rung, and I was just listening to your podcast on it for a little bit. So I was just like getting a bit of a feeling for, you know, what's because I've not listened to a battle rap resume before.
Oh no!
So I was like, we'll just have a little listen to this and, you know, see what's going on. I was like, that sounds like a battle I'd like to watch because Nils and, you know, Henry Bowers are both sick as well.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this has been great, man. This has been great going through these, and Micky is fittingly the final battle here, which is, you know, a beautiful catastrophe, really. Micky, this is the 3 years anniversary of King of the Rolls, I should say. You know, it begins with them boasting about what they've achieved. We've had Fozzy, they say, Bowski says, Simplicity. You're finally debuting solo on King of the Ronalds. Micky mostly gets a sing-along in the first, the God Save Our Queen.
I'll be honest with you, Tom, I don't remember the battle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I tell you the story is, I was on the train down to Manchester, had a couple of beers with my mate, and then we met up in this pub, like outside, you know, opposite where the venue was, and I met Mac Sherry for the first time, so I was a little bit fanboying, and I was like, okay, so Mac Sherry's here, I'm going to get him really drunk, but in the process I got myself really drunk. So I was at the bar, like, it was 10 shots of tequila, and just like, you know, fucking buying loads of drinks and stuff, and then like I said before, once I've had like 4 or 5, things just escalate from there with me. There's no stopping me. And yeah, I've not watched it. I can't remember it. The worst thing was I prepared 3 rounds, and I don't think I spat a single bar.
The kind of guy who walks around in boxes that are covered in actual skiddies. You know, the kind of guy who goes out on the pull and claims he's blagging a 50. And then he wakes up and the beer goggles wear off and she's actually 50. Stone. Lad. She was an half inch and she's got the same skin complexion as a rusty old park bench.
I suppose it's a fitting way, if it is my last battle, I suppose it's a very fitting way to, you know, to end my career the way I started it.
I don't think it's a bad first from you. You know, you say it's your first battle in almost a year. You talk about his girl fucking you know, or him getting a girl, blagging. She's a 50 weight stone. You know, she's actually 50 stone. She's on the blob.
So maybe so maybe I did get some bars out then.
You got a few bars out. His girl was on the blob and they caught him. Didn't catch him red-handed. They caught him red-mouthed.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure some of these stories are true as well, so maybe you'll have to get Micky on and ask him.
Yeah, we've had Micky on a few times, shout out the Culture Vulture, but yeah, jihadi jokes get said. You know, you go to do Micky's slogan as well. It is an odd battle. Micky quotes Oshea versus Lego, the red shoes bar, as well, if everyone remembers that. But the battle gets cut short, I don't know if you remember, it's only 2 rounds.
Honestly, I did not know, and that is probably a blessing in disguise that it got cut short.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Bowski, the hero, steps in, you know, plays league owner for a moment and just sort of calls off the battle, I think, wisely. It didn't really, you know, order anything too successful. But so from there, was it just a stern decision? Were you just like, I'm done, or was it just a gradual thing, or?
No, just like, I'll be honest with you, I literally had no interest in doing the battle in the first place, apart from the fact that it was against Micky. So, like, I didn't want to get back into battling. I just, when the opportunity came up and it was like, Bowski's like, do you want to battle Micky? And I just thought, you know what, if I'm going to battle someone, let's do it against Micky because he's really funny. But I don't think he's very good. And that was kind of my thought. Not that I think he's bad,
sure,
but I think, you know, if I could have come out with like my 3 proper verses, I think I probably could have beat him. But yeah, you know, that's a big massive if, and that never happened. But yeah, the only reason I even did it was because it was Micky, and I suppose the same thing would happen now. You know, like I've got no real interest in doing it. I miss the buzz of standing in front of, you know, people making them laugh, but I've not really. I suppose it'll take a battle against someone who actually interests me, but really, there's only going to be people who used to, you know, but battlers of the past rather than new people, because I don't really watch any of the new guys to learn if they're worth having a battle with. Plus, they probably wouldn't want to battle me because, you know, they're not going to gain anything from it, really, are they?
I mean, you could be a hero on Dub Scandal.
On Dub Scandal? Where's that? Is that in Sheffield? Is it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'm
pretty sure. Is this the one that Dialect runs?
No. This is more like
one?
John and Chip and Milky and Conman and all those.
I don't even know who any of those guys are. So that tells you everything. Yeah. Shout out to these boys. Like,
but seriously, you would kill on that. You would kill on that league. And Oshea's been on that league a few times as well. And
didn't he battle against? Did he battle Moss Prob at that league? Was it or
he did? That's right.
Yeah. I thought I saw that one.
Yeah, I think that was actually his first. But yeah, Most Prob's been over there a few times. Jay Shaw, Ika, you know, there's been some real talent at Matter as well, and Tongue Twister. Just before we get to the end, a few more questions from the listeners. Bowski, the legend that is Bowski, asking, Sprungy, your top 3 sessions at battle events? I'm thinking Sheffield, Don't Flop, etc.
Let me tell you about Sheffield Don't Flop, because I told you earlier, didn't I, where I confronted there and both chronicled to ask why I got barred in the first place. What basically happened is I walked into the venue and I went to the bar and I was like, how much is it for like a vodka Red Bull? And she said £1, so I ordered 20 of them. And I just, you know, like me being stupid, I'm like, well, that's cheap. I'm expecting to pay £5 for one. I'll have 20, please. And I stood there. I'm pretty sure, I was trying to give Pseudonym and he was underage and shit like that at the time. And I'm just like nailing these vodka Red Bulls. And you know, I think you can hear me in the background of a few of the battles. I'm pretty sure I pissed in a plant in the corner of the bar at one point. You know, it was just like a really, really heavy session. So I'd say that one.
Okay.
Is definitely up there. In terms of like just pure great sessions, I had a couple of good ones down in London. We had one where we went. It wasn't me, but like Oshea was battling at Cold City battles. You know, like I think
Charlie Sloth,
the jump off, the jump off like thing, and me. Cosmo and the boys all went back to Cosmo. We were just, you know, there's videos of me singing with some gay fella on the train. That was a good session. Outside of that,
what about Birmingham? How was that?
Birmingham was cool. Like the first time I went to Birmingham was nuts, because this was like there must have only been about 20 people in the room, and me and my friend were the only white guys in there. It was in the middle of like what I would like to describe as the Jamaican area of Birmingham, to a point where I did the battle. He took us to a pub and my mate just said, "Where's the smoking area?" And the guy behind the bar is like, "You're in the smoking area." And then he's like, "What, even if I want weed?" And he goes, "Especially weed." And I was like, "Fucking hell, this is nuts." Yeah. But yeah, no, this Spit Roast had some big events though. They had like a big massive warehouse where there must have been about 350 people in there, which was really cool.
Yeah,
like cool. I enjoyed it down there. Became a bit of a cult hero for a little bit, which was cool. And Wolverhampton, we had a few good ones down in Wolves as well.
Yeah, Barmageddon, right?
Yeah, definitely. Like I did a few battles down there. Battle against Shawnee B. I had a great day in the one with Cashmore.
Yep.
Although I can't remember that much of the battle, the day was cool. It was good fun. I remember them bringing out mutton curry, and I was like, "Yeah, this is the kind of battle event I want to be at." You know, get pissed and then get served curry for free. You know.
Yeah.
That's it. It's hard to know because most of the best sessions I probably have I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Bowski would be right. Bowski would be right in saying Sheffield. That's definitely up there. And yeah, I'd say the Cashmore battle and yeah, down in London where the night after Cold Cities was a belter as well.
Well, we'll close as we always do. A few quick fire questions. The first one, Sprungy. Your favourite don't flop battle?
My favourite don't flop battle would be Scissors versus Wizard.
Gun bars.
I just find it hilarious. It's just so because it's so like satirical and stupid. That's the kind of thing that I love. So that one and Oshea versus Flex.
Yeah,
it would be my other.
Yeah, great choice as well, yeah. But, the Wiz and Sizz battle had Sizz on about a year ago or so. That was a great episode, and we discussed that battle at length. And, yeah, it is remarkable. It's kind of pre-Bad Bars meta. Like, it's pretty groundbreaking, and the actual writing in of itself is outstanding, as always, from both of those guys. What about King of the Dot? Are you a fan of King of the Dot?
Yeah, I would say pretty much any battle with Patch Day.
Okay.
Because I think he's the best in the world.
Yeah.
Personally, probably one of the only people I will watch outside of, outside of just a few battlers. But him against Holohan sticks to mind the most. Yeah, that was obviously the first of like a really personal battle between two mates, and it was just like, yeah, this is heavy.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. What about URL?
I've never got that much into URL. I've never been a massive fan of the gun bar culture or the gang culture that they always rap about. But if I was to pick like an actual URL battler as opposed to like a single battle, because I don't think I could really off the top of my head pick one. But I really like Hitman Holler. I think he's a pretty really good performer.
And what about your favourite film?
My favourite film is Remember the Titans.
Remember the Titans, good choice.
Yeah, it's got everything, mate. It makes you happy, makes you sad. It's got it just brings together cultures. It's really I suppose that's what battling does in a way as well, doesn't it? Bringing together different cultures that you probably wouldn't see hang together outside. So yeah, that's my favourite film.
And your favourite musical artist or band that are in no way hip hop related?
Oasis or Fleetwood Mac.
Let's go. Yeah, Oasis are so fire.
Yeah, Oasis were like the first for me. The big.
Probably for me, yeah. Probably for a lot of people, I think. Yeah, they were.
Yeah, anyone who sort of grew up in the 90s, they're gonna think like Oasis are probably the biggest, mainstay in their head.
Yeah, and Fleetwood Mac as well. All their iterations, incredible band. Yeah,
they're very good. Rumours, one of the best albums ever made.
Yeah. So, I guess, how do people get in touch with you? Social media, that sort of stuff. Your music.
Yeah, I mean, my music's on the internet. It's on SoundCloud /Sprungy. There's really old stuff all over the place if you just search for me. But if anyone wants to message me, they can just do it on Facebook. I'm quite approachable. Yeah. Happy to chat to people and things like that.
Clearly, no, thank you, man.
Yeah, no, it's a easy going. But yeah, that's about it, really.
Yeah, well, again, check out all the battles that we spoke about. Go on Sprungy's verse tracker and marvel at the absolute surplus of battles that the guy did. Quite incredible. Go support the music as well. You can support us at Battle Rap Resume. Leave us a review on iTunes. Support us on Patreon as well. We've got loads of cool stuff on Patreon. Check out what's there. Email me battleresume@gmail.com. Get in touch. Support us on Twitter and all that sort of stuff. Subscribe. Go back. But Sprungy, thank you again, man. This has been great chatting.
Yeah, no worries, man. No worries.